Yeah, I would say that if unless you've torn your bicep, you can always do bicep curls.
You can always do bicep curls.
So, it's been a minute.
It's been a hot minute.
It's been a while. It's good to see you, man.
We've both been busy. It's very good to see you too.
Yeah, I mean, you've got some news, I've got some news, and I'm excited for your news, I think, in regards to the lagoon.
Yeah, so guys, sorry for the short delay on the podcasts. We, as we've just alluded to, have both been very busy. Mikael's been taking the load of classes down at Absolute.
Yeah, so that probably ended last week.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was that for a couple of weeks. The morning class coach was gone, and then Lockie was gone,
Lachlan's been away.
and there was like an overlap with a couple of days where I was like, this is going to be tough, but
Yeah.
we're all good.
And I have been basically living in high vis and
He's a
visiting
tradie.
Bunnings every day. I do it all now. But the lagoon and the sauna is to be completed by today. So by the time you're listening to this, it will be in operation. It's been last couple of weeks have been stressful, but we're very excited to be at this place. At this part of the reno, man. The exciting part.
I'm fucking not looking forward to hopping into that ice bath, though.
I am. I can't wait because since I fucked my knee back in March, the ice bath I have at home is quite small, and so I couldn't actually physically bend my leg enough to get into it.
Is it like a square one instead of a...
It's rectangular, but it's only 300 litres.
Okay.
Whereas the one we have in here is 500 litres, so it's much longer. So for me to even get in there was not possible. And then I've sort of become a little bit of a precious snob, knowing that the really nice one is going to be in use soon. So I've kind of just not bothered even trying to get back into the ice baths until this has been completed. So water's going in there tonight.
Honestly, it's a tough life you have. Like I had a shower here for the first time, and that was the best shower I think I've ever had.
It is a very
It's
nice shower,
fucking
isn't
great.
it?
I mean, I've only ever seen it and thought it was amazing, but I used it today.
But experiencing it, tell me, what were your feelings in the shower?
Honestly, look, I feel like typical showers, if they're gonna hit me, it doesn't hit both shoulders. But this one's pretty broad,
It's a massive shower.
Yeah, it hits your entire body, right? Mm-hmm. And because there's so much space surrounding it,
Lots of room for activities.
lots of room for activities. If there were no activities, but there is room for activities.
There is room. You can have a stretch. You can relax.
You could do lots of things in there, to be honest.
You can. But the vision with that sauna, sorry, not the sauna, the shower was obviously with the branding and jungle.
Rainforest.
That you step into a rainforest. It's very moody, very dark.
I have to say though, I had it just on like the hot bit. It can get fucking hot.
Yeah, surely it only has to be just past center.
Surely nobody is going in there with boiling water. That's
probably women. Women have their showers scalding hot.
Yeah, look,
Is mine like that?
Yeah, but like I can usually match it. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I like almost.
But that was fucking. I was like, because I put it to about the 45.
Yeah, too far.
And I was like, no, this is gonna burn my skin. I cannot do this.
Speaking of saunas, let's interrupt this for 2 seconds. Torchy.
Hey mate, how are you?
I'm alright. How are you, bro? Yeah, mate, he got it done. So we're pretty much all good to go. Yeah, it looks amazing. I'll send you one soon. We're just literally in the middle of recording a podcast, so you're on the air, bro. Don't apologise. Yeah, no, we figured. That's fine. Perfect. I will touch base with you in the morning, mate, and I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, all right, brother. Thank you. Cheers, mate. Bye.
Man, these mics are good. I could hear that conversation.
Could you actually hear that?
Yeah, I could hear that conversation.
Shout out to Timmy Orchard, my long-term friend and glazier of choice.
I've never met Timmy, but shout out Timmy.
Shout out Timmy.
My guy.
Yeah, it's been a lot of love jobs. I got many thanks to make, which I will probably in the coming episodes when it's all completed.
I mean, I thought you were the jack of all trades. I thought you could just do. I thought you were doing everything.
I've learned a lot.
I've learned
a lot of techniques. That's
good.
for sure.
Good. I mean, I feel like it's not like it's skills that you can use for later, I'm sure.
But But building a sauna, it's not as straightforward as what you might think.
I wasn't expecting it to be easy.
No, and I think you can speak to it now. We've had the chance to catch up and show you through. Because I've always had my vision in my mind, but I'm observing that I'm probably exceeded the expectations of what people kind of thought when I've explained it to them.
Well, I feel like I would say even though the brand is very jungle and very obviously like your brand being like Jungle HQ and like the scenery being like green and the browns and the blacks, I would say the sauna and ice bath looks very luxurious. And not saying that your gym doesn't look luxurious.
No, but you're right.
But it's like a very like
it's high end.
Yeah, it's a very high end looking room, right? There's the whole area, like the ground, the walls, the ice bath. Like I didn't have a good look at the ice bath, not since it's been filled, but like I think it looks great.
Yeah,
glass panel.
I'm really, really happy with the aesthetic. That's for sure. No corners are cut, and that's what I mean. I've got a lot of thank yous to make to, everyone but my Tyler is someone who I would consider a friend.
Yeah.
So
is the Tyler a friend now?
I would say so. We got along like a house on fire. He was a really good guy.
Yeah, nice. For future work, maybe.
For future work, I would definitely use
guy.
him, and I would refer him on. I would refer any of them onto it because they've done a really, really good job.
That's awesome.
So,
man. I'm excited for the sauna, not so much the ice bath. But
yeah, I'm excited for both.
I'll do it for the gram. That's
about
it, bro.
You'll nearly do anything for the gram.
I'll say yes.
Yeah.
I'll say yes. I won't lie. I won't lie about it. Anyway, so we wanted to use this podcast as a means to catch up, talk about how everything's going, but also touch on an interesting topic, which you are now kind of like semi.
Yeah, we're living. A bit past it, but it's still relevant.
But training
with injuries
or through injuries, right? What is your stance on that in regards to the sporting world as well as gym world? I feel like they interchange, but
you know what? It's I don't want to be negative, right? But I've had experiences as a gym owner or as a PT or as a coach where you'll get people, pull a hamstring, hurt a knee, hurt a shoulder, and go, oh, I need to cancel my membership or I need to pause my membership.
Yeah.
And I've, it's not my place to argue with them. Everyone's there to make their own choice. But I think most injuries, unless something extremely severe, like a car accident, something extremely traumatic to the body.
Something that's extreme.
You can nearly always be doing something.
Yeah.
So and I'm kind of jumping the gun here a little bit, but I just think it's a really fascinating part of the human body and something that I cannot actually remember the correct terminology for at the moment. But when we look at muscle growth in its muscle growth and how it occurs, a lot of the adaptation is neurological, right? So it happens from the brain. So even though I've been inhibited with my right leg because of my right knee, there is some evidence to show that continuing to train the left leg will actually result or prevent as much muscle wastage on the right-hand side and help with development of muscle on the right limb as well.
I've actually heard that as well. Yeah, that's something that I was doing when I tore my ACL.
Yeah.
Just with certain movements that I physically couldn't do with one leg, but with the other leg I could, and I'm all good. I mean, I never got surgery, but yeah, I would say a big, and like, thank you, JT. Shout out, JT. I think he was the guy that told me that, actually, about that. And he also said that even though you have 4 limbs and they're meant to like somewhat mirror each other,
the idea of symmetry is somewhat a little bit of a fantasy.
Like, but it's also like doesn't necessarily exist for a reason, right? And he described it real well. Because I was like, why is it with certain things, I'm right hand dominant, but there's some things that like my left hand's actually better at.
I agree. I'm the same.
And he was like, well, when you're screwing in a light bulb, right, you're going to use your dexterous hand for it, but what's holding you up there is your left hand. So there'll be certain things that your left hand is just going to do just to complement your right hand, almost like your secondary hand has its own, or your secondary arm has its own usage there. And I was like, I'd never thought of it that way. So
what things do you find you're better at on your non-dominant side, being your left? Because you're right-handed, yeah? I'm
right-handed. I feel like my right arm is more powerful, but I would say my left is almost stronger. Like it's more like sturdy. Like
So how would you define the difference between power and strength there?
so, I would say like, so like for example, if we use like bench press or like even just like being in a static push up position, I feel like I could generate more force with the right. So I can like probably if it was dumbbell press, I could dumbbell press more,
With the right side?
but I could probably do more reps with the left.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So I would say if I was in a plank or like a push up plank, my right would probably get more tired before my left.
Anything else that you can think of?
Not off the top of my head.
See, it's weird. Like, I jump off my left leg.
Yep. Okay.
But I'm right-footed if I was to kick. But I also think about that, and I'll put a little asterisk next to it because obviously when you run and jump, you drive the right knee up. So I've got a lot of force coming with my dominant side, my right knee, to help you with the trajectory.
Like with the elevation.
Yes, with throwing me up. But I do jump off my left side. And if I do single arm tricep work, I'm stronger in my left.
Yeah, so when I do like unilateral stuff, and I think this is from when I was doing the ACL with the rehab sort of stuff, even to this day though, my left, I can definitely do more reps unilaterally than my right. Even though like sometimes the right feels more sturdy, the left somehow can just pull through, even though like it's the second leg I use, so my nervous system should be somewhat more shut than the first set, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And right now I'm obviously a lot stronger in my left leg, but that's circumstantial to the injury
For sure.
to the right knee. But, you know, one that some of the listeners may be aware of a guy called Dr. Andrew Locke, who is a strength rehabilitation physiotherapist.
Okay.
You know, he's about 60 years old and probably weighs, I'd guesstimate at 120 kilos.
Stacked?
Yeah, stacked as.
He's in his 60s?
Yeah, man, he bench presses 200 kilo. I think
That's
he holds
fucking
a record.
sick.
He's works quite closely teaching with Sebastian Oreb, who's the Australian strength coach.
Yep.
So he's big in the powerlifting world.
Sick.
I might be wrong, but I think he played baseball for Australia, perhaps.
I didn't even know Australia had a baseball team.
No, I didn't either until I met Andrew, and I've worked with him a few times in helping me through some injuries. But I'm digressing anyway. You can check out Andrew. Highly recommend following him if you're looking at particularly lower back or shoulder injuries. And you know, he tore his pec bench pressing, right? And that's a pretty serious injury.
Is that common?
Probably for guys that are bench pressing,
A
because
lot.
the reason you're
like-
vulnerable, particularly in a bench press, is because you're fixed in that barbell position. You don't have the ability to rotate, you know, as you would with a dumbbell, which then can put you into, you know, a little bit of a vulnerable spot. You know, so it's not uncommon in, you know, heavy bench pressing.
Sure.
But his rehab started right the day after the injury, and guess what his rehab exercise was? It was bench press, but it was bench pressing a broomstick, right? Because when you rip a muscle, you then in the healing process develop scar tissue, which doesn't have much elasticity, which is then where people, you know, you may have heard, I know I did growing up with guys playing footy that had repetitive hamstring injuries, and that's often because, you know, you've formed scar tissue, which then it tears very easily.
For a while, it was my LCLs and MCLs.
So the same thing. He was bench pressing, and I think pain is a fantastic indicator. I've tried to do the same thing. I tore the popliteal, and obviously my knee was pretty fucking jacked. But I've been trying to eat from as early as I could really move it. You know, to start off with was just hamstring curling my foot was enough.
Yeah.
But I have not tried to inhibit movement too much, because I don't want to allow for too much scar tissue to develop, and have gradually built that up. Same concept as what Andrew has used with the bench press there, starting with the broomstick, where you have an awareness of the feeling, but it's not necessarily painful.
Yeah.
And I think we can all understand the difference between good pain and bad pain, and just knowing where that kind of limit is.
I disagree. I feel like some people don't understand the difference.
I'm sure they don't.
Right, and
but I hope if you've been training a while, you can understand the difference between good pain, as in this is burning, this is effective training, versus, oh shit, my joint is copping a beating here and I'm vulnerable and I'm on the brink of something going snap.
And that's the thing, right? The indicator of pain is so subjective. Like some people can fucking thrive off it, and some people like really can't. And not to say that that's like them being soft or anything. I just think it's like it's not their fault that they experience pain differently than other people. Like I know, like you've done jiu-jitsu for a while now. Like, did you ever bruise when you did jiu-jitsu?
Shins.
So like you do bruise? I've never bruised.
I never actually see color. I never bleed.
Yeah.
So I'd never get any, like, same way when I was playing footy, I'd get corkies.
Yeah.
But they would never turn black. But I can feel the bruise.
Yeah.
But I can never see it.
Yeah, right. So like I know people that when they first start out, they have it for like the first couple of years.
They just bruise a lot.
And like it hurts them, right? That's never happened to me. And I from an empathetic point of view,
Yeah, I don't- how
like,
you getting bruised?
if like just being grabbed, like just like if someone was to squeeze like
okay,
skin,
yeah,
but
yeah.
like I've never felt that. So I feel like if that was happening to me when I started jiu-jitsu, I'd have a very different experience doing jiu-jitsu.
No,
Because I'd be
I
like, this
have.
fucking, that'll suck. Like, because like when I bruise, it fucking hurts, right? So, but if I bruised all the time doing the thing that I constantly do, oh, horrible.
See, I feel the bruise, but I never usually visibly show it. But
Yeah.
now that you said that, I did one day have some bruising around the
Yeah.
wrist from probably being, squeezed.
But like, would
But
it
it
be
didn't
to the
hurt.
point? Right. But I know some people like it hurts to the point. Well, actually, when I get bruised, which is really rarely, right? But when I do get bruised, it fucking hurts. All right.
I feel it a little bit on my shin sometimes when
When there's not a lot of skin.
there's shin on shin.
Yeah.
That's fuck it. If you can't deal with that, don't do jiu-jitsu.
I mean,
Maybe I'm being a bit harsh. I'm being a bit harsh.
It's pretty harsh. It's pretty
Yeah.
harsh. Well, only because that it's not necessarily their fault. It's something that.
But it's going to come with the territory. It's hard to avoid that in a contact sport that's so close. You're
It's
gonna
hu-
get some bruising.
It's hard to avoid it in a contact sport, but it can be off-putting to the point where you can't actually take much from the session because like pain, like focus on the spot that's painful, right? And it's really hard to then redirect that focus towards other things, right? So therefore,
Sure.
it like your learning becomes worse, your like awareness becomes worse, and like you start to get frustrated, which is the worst thing you can do when somebody's actively trying to beat you.
I think, and again, it's always going to be person to person, but I always find that
This is going to relate to training with injuries, by the way. You're going to hate my answer.
your answer.
Well, my answer to should you train with injuries or work around it?
Oh, okay, well, I can guess now what you're going to say, but my point I was going to say is like when I'm actually training, though, in the middle of it, is I often then forget about the pain. Nothing's hurting while I'm training. And then when I'm warm and I'm in competitive mode, and then later it all starts to sink in.
So that's kind of what I was going to say, right? So I don't know if you remember, I hurt my ankle like months ago now.
Yes.
And I was like hobbling in here like to do one podcast. I think it was with Kadek, the one that we did with Kadek. The second time round.
Yes. Thanks for reminding me of that.
And I had a match not long after that, I'm pretty sure. And I remember like hurting my ankle and just ignoring it. I just ignored it, trained
Just
through
like
it.
you did when you snapped your ACL.
Just ignored it. Right. Well, actually slightly different. I mean, I knew my
Is this
ankles-
mental toughness or illness? Disability.
I
from
think
you?
it's fucking idiocracy. Well, actually not really, right? I just think I was in a set circumstance that if I let it bother me, it was going to bother me. So I just chose to not let it bother me. And then I remember I had the match, and then after the match, I would like that week in training, I was like, "Fuck, my ankle's actually really sore." Eh? Like, it's still sore. It's been months. I reckon it'd be.
What did you
ATFL.
think you actually did to it?
I reckon
Some ligaments.
ATFL. Is it called CFL? The other one?
My ankle anatomy
Okay,
isn't
all good.
flash.
But it's like that part of the ankle just like rotated through, and like effectively, if this happened to your ankle, but then like force got applied through it. Yeah, it was. I mean, my entire foot was swollen, and like I said, I don't bruise easily, but my entire foot was purple, and I'm brown.
You are brown.
For those of you that are listening,
So
and
now you're purple.
So my
Purple
entire
and
foot was
brown.
fucking fat.
So you look
and
like,
it wa-
is it Grimace?
Grimace?
Is that the Macca's guy? The purple one?
Oh, I don't know, bro.
The mascot?
I actually don't know. Fuck, I should know that. I used to have Maccas a lot at some stage in my life, but not anymore. You know what, though? I did have Maccas recently. and it was really good.
So did I. Didn't I tell you about it?
I think I told you, and then you told me.
I know this is big. I had Macca's for the first time in such a long time, but I have no shame over it, right?
No.
I hold. I actually find some humor in it because it speaks to the
Human.
not even the human, just the day I'd fucking had. Like, I don't think I'd eaten all day, and I punched like a 16-hour day in here on the tools and just.
So
grinding.
you needed maximum nutrition.
No, I was just so tired and so hungry that I didn't give a fuck. It was probably 9 o'clock at night. I was in here, yeah, that's what I was doing. I was cutting cement sheet the night before the tiler had to be here, so it had to be done. And this is one of those things, when it's your business, the responsibility falls on you, and it is what it is.
Of course, you got to take pride in it, right?
So I was in here till at least 9 at night, which is late for me. I'm usually in bed by 7:30, and I'm up, 4:35. And so, grinding it out, and on the way home, I got a quarter pounder
Yeah.
with some chips in the burger.
Are we sponsored by McDonald's?
I hope not, for the well-being of us.
That said, I feel like you could charge anything, and they'd just be like, "Yeah, sure." Right?
It'd be profitable.
It'd be profitable. I had this new one. It was called Cheesy Angus.
It's new cheese, new.
No, like you know how they do like seasonal things.
But I tell you what, I fucking enjoyed the burger. I'm not gonna lie, Macca's tastes good, but
I think junk food tastes great.
yeah, but it's simple. I talk
Same
about
with
this all
ice
the
cream,
time.
same with
Ice
fucking-
creams,
yeah,
drugs.
yeah.
You're gonna eat all the time. You're gonna be a piece of shit.
For sure,
Yeah.
right? You are what you eat.
True that. Literally, I mean, every cell in your body turns over every 12 to 18 months, and you are made up of what you eat. Simple as that.
So anyway,
So training with injuries, you think?
so I think it really depends on the individual, right? And that's like the political answer.
Yeah, I was like, you're always being such a voice of reason here, mate. Just tell me.
What
how
what
it
I
is.
would do?
Yeah.
So I would just
Stop
ignore
being
it
so
and keep
likable.
training. I would just ignore it and keep training. For me, all right. Well, one, I get FOMO, like that everyone's getting better and I'm not, and I need to keep advancing.
But the point is, there's still other areas of training that you could be doing that don't involve your ankle. That's my point.
I mean, in jiu-jitsu, not so much. There's a lot of
Yeah, it's hard to avoid your ankle.
yeah. I would say, like, for example, if I was just lifting weights or playing another sport that didn't involve a lot of like legs, sure, right? You could get away with it.
Okay, well, that's a nice way to actually segue into my mindset as it. So, of late, up until my injury, jiu-jitsu was making up 80% of my training. 20% of it was probably weights,
Bicep curls.
just the beach muscles.
Yeah.
Bicep curl is a functional exercise for jiu-jitsu.
I agree. I actually
Arm
think
drags,
I
rear naked
I would
chokes.
say it's almost the most important one.
Yeah. But either way, so yeah, I've lost the ability in my injury to do the type of exercise or sport that I am most interested in, but it doesn't mean that I can't do other things. Right? So I've been able to return back to lifting more weights, particularly in the upper body, trying to keep some strength in my left leg, and gradually incorporating a little bit of right leg rehab stuff, and taking the opportunity to do some things that I don't usually have the time to prioritize in my training. And I think, now being back in the jiu-jitsu space over the last couple of weeks, it's it's good because I feel really strong.
Yeah, great. And you obviously working on other things and still being active whilst you're being injured, which I think is really important. I think the worst thing you can do is do nothing.
Well, it sounds as silly as it is, right? But I got stairs here at the gym. I got stairs at home. And just being able to walk up the stairs was noticeable progress for me. And it was really good, just taking the time to actually be very conscious or mindful in the way that I'm stepping. Thinking from the ground up with my foot arch, is my knee tracking in the right direction, which sounds very simple, but was a big deal with the injury.
Yep.
And actually pressing up through it, not altering your stride, contracting your glute and stuff. And it just, all of those little steps and just the way that you're actually walking was all progress.
Did you do a lot of I guess not activation, but just like looking at how your hip went, like especially on the bad side? You know how because I feel like when a lot of knee injuries in particular, you start to like almost
Yeah, you start to tilt.
like you drag one leg, like one leg's being dragged.
Yes.
Right. So did you notice any?
That was very evident early,
Okay.
especially when I did a bit of stuff with Tim. Shout out Tim, black
Yeah.
belt physio.
Recently got his black belt. Shout out.
And you know, he was just bringing my attention to just being mindful of that shift, because
great with that sort of stuff,
yeah,
man.
because then that's what can happen. You know, you start to get a secondary injury from overloading. You know, the opposing limb or leg that's compensating for the injury. You know?
And that's actually the thing that I was probably most weary of when I was training with the bad left ankle. The fact that there's a much higher chance now that I hurt something else in the process.
Yep.
Only because one, I'm not using it as much.
Do you just speak to your training partners and be like, "Hey, don't straight ankle lock me"?
Nah,
No.
I just let them do whatever the fuck.
Oh.
Well, only because I want training to be real. You know, like sometimes there's like and I'm bad at this as well. Like if we were to roll,
But
and
you're
you
also
said-
high level, you know. You're much
course,
higher
of
level
course,
than
of
most
course, of
people.
course.
So there's a different conversation. So for right now, I'm training, but I'm like, hey, just
yeah, like well, it's one of those ones,
don't
right?
crank my leg.
If you like if we rolled,
Yes.
right, and you were like, hey, can you watch this knee? I'd be very wary of that knee. But to the point where the roll would be very different to how it was naturally intending to go. You know, like like almost like letting nature take its course. Like I would be looking after your knee to like the best of my like that would be the
But
priority.
that's what makes a good training partner.
Yes, but for me, I'm trying to get better at jiu-jitsu, so I needed the reactions to be real. I was
Yes.
like, if I leave my ankle there, take it, I'll tap.
But you can still, I'm sure, you know, like you can still grab my leg and hold it. Just don't put the submission on.
But so I'm iffy on that as well, right? Because then there's like a threshold, right? Like, and it's slightly different when it comes to different limbs and chokes.
Yeah.
But especially when it comes to like a leg lock, for example, right? A lot of the time there's like tension, there's like a stretch, and then there's like bang, a break,
Yep.
right? But if I'm used to getting the reaction of, let's say I've applied this much pressure, and people are tapping, I'm like, okay, cool, I don't need to go any further than this, and we never go down that further sequencing, and maybe like there's more techniques that are meant to be added to implement a better like leg lock, because there are some people that, similar to the pain threshold thing, or like I guess even malleability or flexibility, they can just wear more pain than others, and they're just like not tapping. There might be one pop, still not tapping, and then it takes them a while to tap. And I would have never gotten those reactions if like I'd never got taken to those deep waters in the
Yes.
offensive like sort of thing. But I do definitely understand what you're saying in regards to like, yes, I would let people grab my leg and I would tap early, but I would try and make sure that they would have the submission before I would just tap.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the responsibility I want to wear. You know, as like one of the more advanced people in the room. I feel
Yeah.
like that's like the duty that I have with that knowledge there.
But even returning now with the knee, you know, like it's with jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is like such a bad example though for every other people, because
You
you know, like
it's very abnormal.
yeah, you need to be beyond just baseline of okay to perform jiu-jitsu. You know, it's a high level demand on your body.
Yeah,
And
mentally
with
and physically.
a lot of you know variable and risk. But so there's just right now I just don't have the confidence in or it's particularly the LCL. So the outside is what's still really sore for me. So sort of trying to lock up a triangle, particularly anything of that kind of direction, is really angry. Like I was in a mountain, went to do a mountain triangle and just aborted. I was like, no, I don't want to do that.
I think it's any kind of time there's like hamstring activity, and there's like any like outward rotation with hamstring activity, the LCL's horrible. I remember like when I tore my LCLs, taking the back was the hardest thing. Like you just throw in a hook and then like you can't resist them peeling the hook off because you're like that's like a 10 out of 10 pain. So I would just let people out.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's fine, right? Like at the end of the day, it's in the training room, so it's just all practice. But yeah, there's definitely like different things that are annoying. Like for me, my left ankle was I couldn't hook anything. I couldn't like hook sweep or like use a hook. And it's my left leg, so my left hip's like towards one side. It's my flexible side.
I
So
think
it's
we
the one
need to
that's
get
always
you
in.
start training the tibialis.
I did that this morning actually, but more so in like, well, actually I did the opposite. It was in calf raising, but
Yeah.
with like a loaded calf raise I'm just trying to fucking sort this ankle out before I compete.
Because
in
are you
Denver.
struggling with dorsal or plantar flexion?
I'm actually not struggling with either at the moment. I would say my ankle.
More twisting.
No, it's weird, man. I swear it's fucking broken or something.
You probably got a bit of floating bone or something.
Maybe, but it hurts the most when I'm sitting at the L bit of my couch and my legs are straight and my heel is resting on,
So you're
on
like
the couch.
you're crossing legs.
No, like not even crossing legs, and then I go and stand up, and it's like that first step. I'm like, oh, fuck, that hurts, but then I'm good. But it's like it's not used to relaxing and then like having something happen to it.
I know what you mean. It's like the old man pain. It's like
Yeah, it's
I've been sitting there, like you sit on the couch, your legs are crossed for a bit, and then when you uncross them, and you're like, ooh.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, but
stiff ache
it's in
for
like
the
it's in
first
like
couple steps.
it's in like the very middle and like in like where like the shin meets the ankle, but like in the middle of it, like right by the joint. Like a real weird and deep pain.
And not always, but I think there's a lot of lessons that can be taken from injuries. You
Definitely.
know, like usually if something gets injured, there's a reason, right? You either did something or your technique was wrong or you have an imbalance. And all of these things bring an opportunity for you to reassess and improve and recover better than what you were before.
Well, so I've always said some of my best techniques in jiu-jitsu, like the things that I think I'm best at,
Yeah.
have come from being injured. So like using that as a blessing in disguise, and maybe that's looking at it a bit too like positive. But I genuinely think that like I've been forced to do things a certain way because I can't make the movements that I'd usually make, and it's delved me down a different pathway. And I'm like, fuck, I've like unlocked like a bunch of fucking moves now and skills that I would have never had, or I might not have had,
Yes.
if I didn't fuck my leg up or something.
But I think the biggest moral of the story is that if you just did an injury, whether you hurt your calf, hurt your knee, hurt your hip, hurt your shoulder, that's not a reason to just sit on the fucking couch and be like, hey, throw the baby out with the bathwater. I can't exercise or do anything for the next 6 months until that's all good. But unfortunately, I think a lot of people do that. And I get it because it's deflating and it sucks that you can't do things, in your full extreme.
So
but
my like answer to that would kind of be, if I was to sit on the couch and do nothing, I feel like I'd be more sad about it. Like, because then like I guess
you sit in your misery.
Well, it's like the injuries like defeated me.
Yep.
Right, as opposed to like probably the thing that stopped me training was when I hurt my neck. That was a bad one.
Neck's probably one of those ones
It's a
that you
scary
can put
one.
neck and spine.
It's a scary one. But when I tore like my LCL pretty badly, I remember I chucked the knee brace on. At the time I didn't have a dog. I like messaged my friend. I was like, hey, can I just walk your dog for like the whole day? I just wanted to just be active on it, And I did. I walked slowly, but I knew that if I didn't do that, I'd be in a worse place.
What's the worst injury you've had?
Like pain wise or like objective, just
Either. Give me both.
I feel like the ACL. I would actually say the recent one with the neck before we started working together and like gaining some weight. That was scary only because my neck was sore for a long time.
Spinal injuries hurt your mood, well-being. Bronson, who are you barking at?
Fucking scared me.
Yeah, it gave me a little bit of a shock too.
My neck started hurting.
Guarding the podcast.
Yeah,
Look at him. Oh,
he's fucking.
Hey,
Look at his tail, bro.
chill
Is there a
out,
dog
brother.
there?
Chill out.
You must have seen a dog, huh?
It's all good, man. It's all good. Yeah, your neck.
Yeah,
so your
yeah.
neck was the worst. Was it disc?
I never got it really checked out.
Fuck, you're a retard. I shouldn't be using that word, but
It's 2023,
no,
brother.
I'm not allowed to say retarded.
No,
it just slipped out publicly.
I'm a fucking idiot, bro.
Yeah,
Um.
it's hard to be sympathetic.
Well, the ACL one was like, I guess objectively the worst one in regards to like, I did get that scanned eventually, but I remember when we were speaking about when Locke was here, when he like saw it happen, he said he knew it was an ACL, but he just hadn't told me.
Oh,
And
thanks, Locke.
well, I trained, competed, I won, and then I was training in England after the match, and I remember someone single-legged me on my good leg because I had a knee brace on,
Extremely painful.
and I
yeah.
like took one hop onto my bad leg,
Yeah.
and I was like, I need you to get the fuck off me. I was like, I don't know, like, but it was the kind of pain where you drop.
Do you squeal?
Nah, now like when I'm in pain, I go silent, but it's like like
I know,
almost
yeah,
like
yeah.
like in soccer when you see like people like on TV with the sound off. It's like that. Yeah.
See, when I did my knee, everybody in that fucking arena knew. Like, I had people messaging me saying, "Yeah, I was there, bro. I heard it."
I heard it outside.
I didn't give a fuck. I was like, I was squealing like a fucking pig getting drowned. It was bad.
I mean, it's interesting when it comes to pain. People have different reactions, right? So like I mentioned Jaden a lot. So Jaden, he's someone that he when he's in pain, it's like really evident. He's like real vocal about it. Like when he gets like hit in the nuts or like anything happens, he'll fucking yell, bro.
Yeah.
And then he'll like. I remember once he got hit in the nuts and he was training in the gi and he like fully took his belt off and had to like whip the wall. You know,
Whip the wall?
Yeah, he like fucking like
Because he was pissed off?
No, he was just like he was in pain.
Yeah.
And he just needed like an outlet and he was sick of screaming. And yeah, it's the thing that I find the most daunting and scary is when you know
But the pain
somebody-
helps. Like, sorry,
like-
not
like
the pain
the-
helps.
like the yelling?
The yelling can help with the pain.
I feel like I go into full
Same with swearing.
I go into full like objective mode.
You know that TV show, Embarrassing Bodies?
No, I don't actually.
What?
No, I don't know that show.
Really? I feel like a lot of people should know Embarrassing Bodies.
Is that-
It probably hasn't been aired for a good 10 years or so.
Is it fiction or
No. It was a series shot in the UK with doctors, and they were offering free advice. And I guess the kicker was that you had to be on TV, and there was people going in there with a lot of embarrassing issues. So whether it be like they had stinky feet, or they had something going on downstairs,
Yeah.
or
A
they
sore
had like
butthole.
crooked teeth, hemorrhoids, or just anything that's, typically you would feel a little bit, ashamed.
but you get a free doctor's consult if you help on
Yeah,
the show.
but unfortunately you get shown on international TV, and now everyone knows.
I mean, this is
you've
going to
got
circle
problems.
back though to when we spoke about the reality TV stuff. Some people would love that shit.
Yeah,
Some
I
people
guess.
love having some kind of spotlight, right? And like, if that's your claim to fucking having a few more followers, that's your claim to having a few more
Why
followers.
did I even mention that? What did you say before that? I've just had a blank.
Fuck, I don't even know now. We're just two idiots, bro. Just today.
Yeah,
We've
we've been working hard, man. We need more sleep.
I've actually been sleeping alright.
Have
to be
you?
honest. Yeah, I've been sleeping alright. Actually, this morning, our little dog. I was about to say little one. I'm like, I'm not a dad. She just started barking at like 6:30.
Little
Just-
bastard.
Just a little fuck, dude. She's so cute, but she's a handful.
What does she want? Nothing.
Just to let us know that she's awake and acknowledge it. She doesn't even bark. It's like so she does bark sometimes, but when she wakes up, it's like a bah, bah.
yeah, I'm pretty lucky with him.
It's not even a bark. It's literally like a entitled like
Hey,
get me.
give me attention.
Yeah.
Now the worst injury, the worst pain that I've probably ever felt from an injury was when I had internal damage. I got kneed in the kidney. I was bending over, chasing a ball along the boundary, and someone came in from the side and very deliberately drove their knee
Yep.
into my side. And
I'm assuming you guys aren't friends.
no, and that dropped me. I tried to stand up, collapse straight away. Ambulance.
Is that a
there.
legal move?
It was dirty. It was not legal. No, it was very intentional to cause pain, and then his accuracy was on point.
Yeah.
And raced to the hospital. They were going to cut me open,
What?
Straight-
It was that bad?
bro. I was pissing blood. They thought I'd
Well,
ruptured.
like that. Well, like immediately.
Yeah, they thought I'd ruptured my spleen, and they got me into a CT or something, or whatever.
Yeah, whatever
whatever
scans.
scan
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
at the time. And I had bleeding from my kidney, and I was pissing some blood, and they just basically
You spent a lot of time in hospital, haven't you?
I've spent too much time in hospital, and it took me. I was in bed. I was bedridden for probably nearly 2 weeks, and then it took me, I reckon, 6 months to reach to my side because of all the soft tissue damage down there. But I remember that pain like it was yesterday, and it's like, I've had so many injuries, man. Like, I've broken most of my fingers and my hands. I've had knee surgeries. I've broken bones. I've been knocked out. I've had stitches. The list goes on. I've had a pretty good run, but nothing hurts the way internal organ pain hurts. It's a different.
Yeah, I've never
level,
luckily I've never I don't think I've ever damaged. I feel like I would know if I damaged an
And
organ.
the only thing that rivals that and it doesn't matter how tough you are, it will floor the biggest, man, is nerve pain.
I've heard the most painful pain you can. I don't know how true this is, but I heard that the most pain you could feel is if you break your jaw. I'm assuming because there's lots of nerves around the area, but apparently it's excruciating. If like
I just think that would
like-
be one of the worst to put up with. Like you then got to just drink through a straw.
Oh yeah, just the
inconvenience of that surgery, what that would do to that injury would fuck your life.
I mean, people get their underbite and overbite done regularly.
That would be bad,
and
painful.
No, but I mean that's the inconvenience to. I don't even know if it's a problem having an underbite. I just know that people do it. But
No, it definitely would be a problem.
okay, right, just like
Probably,
mechanically,
I mean,
or-
you could think of it from nutritionally in terms of probably how well you can probably break up your food. You could think of it mainly, one I'd be thinking of would be breathing mechanics. Could affect the way you're breathing, so you could become a mouth breather, which then starts to affect, heaps of issues, nervous system, acetylcholine,
mouth breathers.
more dental shit.
You've
probably
already used
gets
the R word
exacerbated.
today, mate.
Yeah, you look retarded. Might as well just keep using it.
The living retarded.
We do that the other 90% of the time.
Oh, we're special, bro. We should not have a podcast. No, but I just think look, I like breaking your jaw. Like I've been hit before. I've never broken a jaw, but any kind of like tooth pain or toothache,
Yes,
is
which
really
is
painful,
nervy.
right? Which means that I'd imagine that if your jaw was to dislocate, it would be really fucking painful.
Well, I'm sure when people break their jaw, they probably do a bit of teeth damage as well.
Well, you would have seen old MMA where Bob Sapp broke his jaw. Have you seen that footage? I think it was Nogueira. No, somebody broke his fucking jaw, and he's an enormous human being.
He is an enormous
and he's
human
like
being.
on the floor crying.
He's also like a big softie though, isn't he?
I mean,
Or is that just on the longest yard?
that was maybe
that's
that
a bit
stemmed
of
from
real.
when he broke his jaw. Maybe because people saw him crying in the ring. He was crying, and I was like, "Fuck, that looks really painful."
I'm still not. I don't buy it. I would choose to break my jaw over many things.
What would all right? Name it. Like name them. Like what would you choose to? Like what's like the worst kind of pain you could feel? Like if you could imagine, like an injury. Like what would be the worst one you could imagine? I feel like this actually one of the scariest ones for me was when I did have epididymitis.
What?
It's like a infection, like similar to you, where they thought I had a torsion, and then they found out it was an infection.
Yeah, no factor. Anything testicular is going to trump any jaw. Like, and again, I talk about the nerve pain.
No, but that's really, but that's more like it was very fucking painful. But it was like
Scary.
The fear of like, am I gonna fucking lose this? Like, yeah, I don't know. Like,
Well, yeah, it is scary losing a nut.
and then the fact of like them putting me on antibiotics, making it feel better, and then the second I got off, it got worse, and I was like, oh fuck.
But I had nerve pain after my surgery, removing my testicle, and that was fire. That was
Nerve pain post it.
So it's called the inguinal nerve, and basically,
How do you spell that?
Don't ask me. I've probably even said it wrong, but essentially, it runs from the inner thigh,
Yeah.
so just above your knee, and it runs through your groin. It misses just the base of your shaft, and then it goes through your abdomen and into your ribs. And so
That's fucking huge.
It's a long nerve. I'll show you on the anatomy charts after. But as they've cut through the abdomen and then obviously gone down into the scrotum and pulled the testicle out, they've damaged a bit of that nerve, right?
They're going through the abdomen. Did you say?
To take the testicle out, and then at the base of my penis, there was a pea-sized lump in the nerve, and I'm telling you, like, that was too much pressure.
Yeah, right.
Like, undescribable. Like, your dick was in a PowerPoint.
Come back to me when you broken
Pulsing.
your jaw.
No, fuck that. You can break my jaw once a year for the next 3 years.
You're like, I never wanna experience that.
Pain again. Like, oh, bro. That sent me back to hospital. That was there for a good 2 weeks until that pea-sized lump dissolved.
What kind of meds were you on?
I can't remember. There was some specific...
Was that time of your life a bit of a blur?
it is. It really is a bit blurry because you're right. I was very emotional and obviously an element of traumatic. processing a lot of emotions and taking a lot of pain-killing drugs. So yeah, it all does feel a bit
Yeah.
blurry sometimes.
Sorry if this is too much to
No,
ask,
it's
but
not.
when you had that procedure done, how long till you're comfortable in actually like picking a weight up again or doing any form of physical activity?
Yeah, you're right, because the intra-abdominal pressure and lifting anything. I wasn't
For
allowed
sure.
to lift anything heavy for about 8 weeks.
8 weeks, that's a while. Did
about
you
8
end up
weeks.
going up earlier, or did you listen to
Yeah,
that?
I think I started doing something a little bit earlier, but I was very conservative.
Yep,
And you know, like, it was all in context to what's heavy for me.
of course. Well,
Yeah.
I feel like any kind of abdomen sort of stuff, even like stretching would have been painful, right? Like
Yeah, definitely.
even like just doing regular shit, like.
I've still got some pain. It's still numb and a bit funny.
Oh really?
Yeah, occasionally get some pain. But one that makes me think of, you know, the Australian CrossFit champion Steph Toohey. Is that her name? Steph Toohey?
I don't
Something
follow
Toohey.
CrossFit.
Toohey's her last name. I think her first name.
We'll have to have Jordan
Forgive
on here,
me.
and he'll fucking know.
He'll know. We'll have him on soon. But she's pregnant, right? And she's
Okay.
she's the fittest on earth,
Yeah,
right?
like
Literally.
like the current champion.
I believe so. In the
Okay,
last
right.
until she's pregnant right now. I think
Yeah, yeah.
she probably, if not, might have already given birth. But there's been some stuff circulating social media of her extremely pregnant and doing kettlebell swings and
I think I've
some
seen.
other
I think
movements.
yeah,
Yes.
I've seen a really fucking pregnant shit with weights. Yeah.
And I read the comments because I'm like, I'll read them. Here we go. And of course, to no surprise, there's people just fucking
Hating on
projecting their fear, hating on her, telling her how dangerous and irresponsible it is, which was really pissing me off because it was like, okay, you're going to judge her for doing a kettlebell swing and exercising, which in relative context to what she's capable of, this is light work.
Yes.
This is 10%. Would anyone who's never done kettlebell swings or that sort of exercise regime
Yeah, that'd be
start
hard
doing
as fuck,
kettlebell swings
yeah.
while you're pregnant? Yeah, it's fucking stupid. But she is, you know,
She's well above the baseline.
She's
Well
well
above-
above
yeah,
the baseline. It's like, and the people that are criticizing it, that you wouldn't blink an eye if you're sitting at home eating fucking macas on the couch because you've got cravings as a pregnant woman.
Yeah,
Yet
yeah,
you're going
yeah.
to judge somebody for doing a little bit of exercise, which is light work in comparison to what they're capable of.
Yeah, I actually know someone who trained all throughout their pregnancy, and they were completely fine. Like, obviously, you just have to be careful. Like
In my experience,
jiu-jitsu.
the ones that continue to train for as long as they can
Right.
are the ones that rebound so much better.
And the one negative that we took from her rolling while she was pregnant was
Oh, she was rolling.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Okay, I understand why that makes people nervous.
yeah, so there was a nervousness to it, but the one negative feature, or I guess outcome, that kind of happened was when you're hormonal, I think your joints become more malleable, and she like retore her ACL, and like just from doing like a very basic like knee slice pass, just like because I guess when you're pregnant, you
There'd be
like
a lot
the-
of things contributing
like the
to
body's
that.
like the body's trying to open up, right? So I guess like is that correct? I don't know much about pregnancy, but to my knowledge, you like your hips and shit.
Well, your
start to
hips are
shift,
shifting, sure.
right? Which means that I believe your bones and stuff have to have the space to move, or like whatever creates that sort of thing. Anyway, the knee was looser and just doing like a very basic technique. Bang.
And the way I've always sort of approached pregnant women with training is again, it's common sense. Like there's going to be certain exercises that are going.
Oh, this
to
person
be,
was a very high level. Back
yeah,
then, right?
of course. And it's like, you know, you don't want to be training anywhere near to failure, and you don't want to be holding your breath and doing, you know, creating a lot of intra-abdominal pressure, and
Yeah.
you know, you want to make sure that you're breathing consistently. You probably start to utilize machines where you've got more stability, and you know, don't have to be probably hinging and putting pressure on the lower back, but just, you know, be smart. It's not actually that complicated. The human body's pretty amazing.
Yeah, like I actually think that's the best thing you kind of get out of training in combat sports. That like you're not made of glass. You know, like you're actually like for
And
a lot of it.
and I
you're
do
okay.
believe too that, like, you know, a lot of whatever mum does is going to influence that baby in terms of the type of person that they're going to be. Like a really good example.
You mean like during pregnancy?
Yeah, I think if they continue to exercise, you're probably more likely to have a you know, a fit, healthy baby. As someone who likes exercising, if you're probably very anxious through pregnancy, there's a probably more like probability that baby will have, you know, anxious type behavior when they're born.
I've never even considered those things.
100%. And it's like how, so for example, I talked with my mum, and through the pregnancy with my sisters, she only craved savoury, where with me, she craved sweets. And I have a sweet tooth, they don't.
I thought you don't have a sweet tooth.
No, I do. I'm just disciplined as fuck.
Fuck. Sad, dude.
So like,
just give in.
If I
just
like,
give in.
like I don't eat
Ben and
ice
Jerry's,
cream.
I'll take you after this.
I don't eat an ice cream. I eat the box.
No, but that's how you're meant to eat ice cream.
Yes.
Right? Like if you go and you buy like a tub of ice cream, like the serving size at the back is a fucking lie.
And I've told you, like, I love artificial grape, like purple. And I
love the taste of purple.
Like my favorite drink is Dr. Pepper. Like my death row meal would include a Dr. Pepper.
Is that Dr. Pepper? Is that sarsaparilla? Is that flavor?
No, it's like medicine flavor. Cough medicine flavor.
Yeah, no, but like, what's the actual flavor of
It's
Dr.
Pepper.
Fucking
I guess it's like artificial cherry.
Cherry.
Yes.
I think that
See,
is.
I
think that is sarsaparilla.
I know it tastes different.
Similar,
but
it's different.
It's
okay.
But my point being, I love those kind of flavors. As
Yeah.
horrible as they are for you.
I actually
so
never have-
you know, I grant myself a Dr. Pepper, probably.
I'm a Coke Zero fan.
Yeah.
I love a Coke Zero.
See, I don't like Coke.
I never know though if I am better off just having the sugar, or like having
Yeah, I don't think so.
or like having like the phenylalanine instead, which is the artificial sweetener.
I would go for the artificial
zero?
sweetener over the
Yeah?
sugar, personally. Because again, you know, it's one of those
Is it
things.
'cause it's like processed sugar
I think the
versus,
jury's
like-
still out a little bit too, and it's interesting. You know, a lot of these studies show that you know, these things can cause issues, and they've been tested on rats and stuff. But then you look at the relative dose to body weight ratio, and you would have to be drinking like fucking liters of it to get an amount of relevance where it's going to be negative on the body. But as I said, if it looks like shit, it smells like shit, it probably is shit. So I keep it in the rarity basket. You know. So
I recently heard that same kind of fact with like paracetamol. Like apparently you need quite a lot of paracetamol to OD, but I don't know. I don't know that. I heard that.
You do, but you could.
But the thing is that you can buy-
You could buy a box of it,
of course.
and you could eat that box, and it would fuck you up.
Apparently it's.
I can't remember if it's.
Apparently you need more than like a box there to fuck you up, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's just what I heard.
I can't remember whether it's paracetamol or whether it's ibuprofen, but one of them, if you ate a box, it would potentially eat through the intestinal lining.
I think that's
and
paracetamol.
You would potentially have internal bleeding and die.
So this kind of links, I guess, to training.
Training with injuries and ibuprofen. That's not a bad one.
Yeah.
Anti-inflammatories.
I'm not the biggest fan of ibuprofen.
No, I don't like using anti-inflammatories at all. They really can fuck your gut health.
Yeah,
But there is a time and place where you might need them.
I don't mind a Panadol though. So like paracetamol. I would much rather a paracetamol over an ibuprofen. I just feel a little bit better. I've also
See, I don't use Panadol.
honestly, this is probably why I had that neck injury. I don't know if I ever told you, but I remember I hurt my neck before a tournament once. We were doing like EBI rounds, and I was defending an armbar because you start in the armbar, and I had like that, and they went to bridge into it, and I felt like this juk in my like upper back, and like the guy I was with, Josh, he was like, "What the fuck was that?" I was like, "I don't know, but I feel kind of strange." I was like, "Did I just tear my pec?" I'm like, "I feel so bizarre." Like,
Yeah, I remember you told me how you felt it through the pec.
I was like, "This is so weird." Like, I just feel like my left side feels weird. But I was warm still. Anyway, I was kind of like just weary of it the whole day. But it happened during the morning. I didn't really feel anything until the next day. I went to bed, woke up, and I couldn't sit up. I was like, my neck is excruciating. So I was leading up to this tournament, and this is probably why my neck is fucked, like objectively. Anyway, I had a friend who is allergic to ibuprofen, but he had prednisolone. And like it says a warning on the thing.
It's a steroid.
Yeah, it's but it's for people that are allergic to like an anti-inflammatory steroid, I believe.
Yeah, it is. I've used it before.
Yeah, and it says
Gave me shock and pimples.
and it says you can't do it for more than like 3
You do it for like 9
straight.
days or something.
I think it was like 3 or 4 days. It
Yeah.
was like less. Anyway, I remember I like popped one, and I felt incredible.
Oh, really?
I remember just being like, I feel fucking awesome. I like nothing was sore, nothing was in pain. I remember I could move my neck around completely and just go like crack, 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 crack. I was like, this is so weird. Didn't feel a fucking thing.
How long did it last?
Until I stopped taking it, so 3 days.
And you were worse or just back to normal? Back to how you were?
Well, I was kind of like 24 at the time, or 25 or something, so I was still pretty young.
Mm.
I just kind of had like a...
See, these are the things
I just
where-
kind of had like a sore neck, I would
Yeah.
say, right? And I think throughout the years that like it took its wear and tear, and then I remember when I hurt my neck this recent time, about a year ago now, actually, I just like double-legged, and I took the person down, and they went to frame on my head. I remember like my neck just turning a little, and I was like, that is real painful. And typically in the past, when my neck would get sore or jar, I'd have like a kind of like a stiff rhomboid for like 48 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But this one was fucking stiff for like 11 days, so I was kind of concerned. So.
Anything in the neck and the spine makes me extremely nervous.
But I still don't know what happened because I never got it checked out. But
Either way, I think we finish on something positive, guys, that injuries are a part of life, they're a part of training, they're a part of exercise, and they're a part of sports, and it happens, and all they do is bring us opportunities to learn from them, recover, work around them, rehab, get stronger, and hopefully prevent the same thing happening again. And if you're in a position to do so, help someone who could potentially be looking down the same path as what you had, and steer them in the right direction.
yeah, I would say that unless you've torn your bicep, you can always do bicep curls.
You can always do bicep curls.